Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Anecdotal Economist, and today I want to talk about my desk stack and why you should have one too. This would normally be the part where I have an intro. I'm going to keep saying that until I get one built. It's motivating me. We're going to do a much better and shorter one than the one we had before, so hopefully everybody will enjoy it. But for now, let's get into discussing why you should have a desk stack. So I'm going to show you guys, this is what I typically have on my desk. Ignore the things in the background. I don't keep these two gold pieces out. I typically have some maples here. And these are my fidget spinner maples, as you might call them. I got a 2-ounce coin, just a nice chunky one. And I've got 5 maples. One is currently not here because it's also my pocket silver. And I don't have it right at this moment with me. But we'll talk about pocket silver another day. Then I also keep exactly 20 buffaloes and 1 gold bar. And I've done, if you know the history of this channel, I've done a lot of things including bending and biting this bar, and I believe those videos are still up for your perusal, but if they're not, I'll have to look into it and re-upload them. And you might say, well, why on earth? This seems kind of silly. I usually don't tune into this channel to talk about collectibles or weird things like a desk stack. What does that have to do with being a fiscally responsible stacker? And I want to say that Milton Friedman once had the quote that it's the funniest thing that we spend all this energy in humanity pulling silver and gold especially out of the ground and then store it back in holes under the ground. And I have also a deep stack, and you may have heard this term. I've heard this term a few times and I like it. It's a deep stack. It's sort of like the stack that you're never going to sell. And for me, that tends to be very nice parts of my collection that I put away, and I just don't really see them with my eyes that often. And I have found that if you put your entire stack away, you can go long periods of time without actually looking at your stack. I'm talking I've gone over a year without actually ever looking at it, and sometimes it can fade out of memory. You can kind of forget that your stack is there. That you have a safe or maybe you've got it buried underground or hidden in a wall or whatever you've done with it. Sometimes if you've got it well hidden or well put away, it's sort of inconvenient to get at and you just don't go look at it. And so you can kind of just forget to be checking the price of gold. You can kind of forget about silver. And I would say that that's actually a good thing. You don't want to be obsessed. You want to live your life and think about other things besides gold and silver. You don't want to be like me making YouTube videos every day. But it's also a good thing to keep the market in mind, and especially to remind yourself, why was I stacking in the first place? What was my motivation? Now, some people, they just want to get a little bit for emergencies and then they're done. And I get that 100%. But most of you know, I like to continue slowly building it up and maintain a certain percentage level of my portfolio in gold and silver. And to do that, I need to pay attention to markets, pay attention to what's going on at the local bullion store, check prices, and remember that I'm actually supposed to buy it in the first place. Now, YouTube can also help with this. Just paying attention to YouTube videos. I'm going to do a video, in fact, on my favorite YouTube sources. But having a desk stack is a really fun way to do it. And I actually keep these on my work desk, and I can use them to fidget with, which is fun. Love the weight, but I actually use them in another way. Sometimes I'll use them as paperweights to keep my pages down, just grab 5, chunk them down. Or I will use them to actually keep track of tasks. So if I have say 5 tasks I need to get done, I'll have these out here and I'll go, okay, I'm done that one. And it really puts weight into the tasks because I don't do physical labor anymore. A lot of what I do is just, computer and calculation based, phone calls, business, that kind of thing. And sometimes it can just feel like you're spinning your wheels, you're not getting anywhere. But if you start out with okay, I have 5 tasks today, here they are. And, you just have this weight of getting them done. And it's a fun way to keep track of things, but it also keeps silver at the top of mind. I often forget that these are even silver. I'm not really paying attention to them. That's not true. I remember that they're silver, but I'm not really paying attention to them on the day-to-day. But what it does is once in a while I'll go, hey, look at this buffalo. This is a different one here, made by a particular company. Oh, this one's a little bit different. This one's made by the Sunshine, so on and so on. I got all these different ones. I wonder what else is out there. And then I'll just, on a coffee break, Google, oh, there's this Buffalo Girl from Scottsdale Mint. I'm going to buy some of those because that's cool, right? Or oh, look, the price of silver. I wonder what it's doing. And it keeps me in the game. Now, some of you may not have this problem. but some of you may understand what I'm talking about. You put stuff in your deep stack and you sort of just forget about it from time to time. And you miss, especially when the price of silver may be going down or the price of gold may be going down, and you're just not paying attention as much as when there's all that excitement of the prices going up. And so I have really learned to enjoy having a desk stack. And I would recommend you consider doing something like that. If you have the ability, it doesn't have to be these. You could buy Mercury dimes or half dollars or whatever it is that you think that you'd like to have. And the final advantage is it gives you something to touch with your hands and not be worried about. And you'll notice that some of these buffaloes are a little bit tarnished. Most are not, though. You know, this one has a little bit of a gray tarnish to it. But most are not, because I'm touching them and rubbing them against each other. They're really just not building up all that much tarnish. You know, I don't intentionally touch the faces. I try to just touch the edges, but I'm not worried about it. Same with these maples. The Mint Shield technology I just found out recently is a coating. It gives them a bit of a strange tarnish because it's like it slows down the tarnish process so much. So very interesting, but same thing. I get to touch these. I have no issue picking these up and holding them. And the final reason, nobody really knows what it is. So I happen to work from home these days, but if you worked at an office, which I've obviously done as well, I don't think most people would even know what these are, right? I don't think, you know, I maybe wouldn't leave 20 sitting out because that's just too much temptation. But if you took 5 buffaloes and you had these sitting on your desk, just like this up in the corner, I don't think anyone would even notice, right? I used to, you know, I'm not going to flick it here, but, you know, flick it up in the air, maybe spin it around, just play with it. You know, flip it through my fingers, that kind of thing. It's just a fidget spinner. Nobody knows. Nobody knew they were still there. It's like, yeah, this guy's got some coins, whatever, that's his business. Most people have no clue what you're doing, right? The majority of the population has no idea. And so I highly recommend it. I would not leave gold out at work, just an FYI, but have it somewhere in your house, somewhere where you can look at it. Maybe just do a gram card or something a little bit smaller if you're not comfortable with a full ounce. I tend not to leave much gold sitting out, but 1 ounce, you know, the odds of having a break-in in my area are pretty low. I'm not particularly concerned. And so this is just a short video. With that, I'm just going to do a really quick review on this maple bar. This is actually I'm going to call it the Type 1 maple bar. There's 2 types. They actually did an upgrade, much like they did with the maples, if you look closely. If you look really closely in between the letters, you can see it. It's always hard to pick this up on camera on such a small coin. But there is those lines, those radial lines in there, and that is to help with counterfeiting. And the newer Type 2, I'll call them, Canadian bars, also have that. Whereas this, you can see, just still has the lines from the bar stock. These are cool. I think I only have a handful of these. I don't have many for sure. And this one is my beat up one. This one's actually gone through the washing machine. I keep it in my pocket. You can see the edge. It's a little chipped up. I have bent it. I'm not going to do that anymore, but you know, like I said, you can watch the video of it. I've bitten it with my teeth because I always wondered from the movies with the cracker, you know, they bite the gold to see if it's real. I want to try it up. This is just sort of my piece I don't care about. I don't want to lose it, and I know I'm not going to get a premium for this when I go to sell it, but I'll still get probably something like today, $2,730, if you can believe that price. Absolutely insane. So I've lost no money on this, and the nice thing about bars, I think everybody should have one bar, even if you're a coin guy. One bar that you can just pull out and hold. You know, it's if you can't afford a kilogram gold bar, which, you know, for me, that's just not going to be an option, at least in the short term. Having a bar like this that you can slap down and say, hey, here's my gold bar, you know, that's just cool. As far as the looks and the design of these, very simple. They are serialized, which I like. I believe you can look these up. I haven't tried in a long time, but I believe you can look these up online. You know, it's just the basics. I always like the back, the way they just do the one proof sort of RCM maple in the middle, which I think is M for mint, and then it's got the Canadian maple leaf above it. It's a cool background. It's a fun design for a bar. Nothing wrong with it. And I found in general that Royal Canadian Mint bars and their standard rounds are just always a fantastic investment. I'll talk later. I don't like as much the Royal Canadian Mint specialty stuff. Not that it's not high quality, but they're basic bars like this, you just can't go wrong. So that's going to be my review for today. This has been the Anecdotal Economist. I just want to say I appreciate all the subscription I'm getting. It's crazy, the growth. I was not expecting it. My channel's grown a lot slower in the past, so I appreciate you all subscribing. If you want to support the channel with a comment, but you don't know what to say, today's keyword will be bar. I appreciate that. If you want to give me the old like and subscribe, that would be appreciated. That's my 2 ounces worth. This has been the Anecdotal Economist.
Kilogram, you're the dragon, you're the rabbit.
Okay, let's look at the money side now. Watch as I pull this bad boy out of here. Absolutely stunning once you get it out of the case. Feeling the weight of this in my hand. Oh, that's such a good feeling.
I never had enough gold.